no justification for keeping Hefner here after this season. I for the 4 years he's been here, what have the Mets accomplished? What have the Mets pitching accomplished? You got you choked the division away because apparently this pitching staff can't do well under pressure, like we saw with the Braves and the wild card 2 years ago. So it's been a nightmare. And I mean, I know I'm going all over the place from point A to point Z to point X, but I'm absolutely furious right now. But point is, Jose Quintana, he's been horrible. I mean, he's a guy that the Mets, honestly, I would skip his start. He's a guy that should spend his start on the bench. Gets pitch count. I mean, he has like 80 pitches, coming into the third inning. His pitch count is horrible. He cannot put away hitters. I mean, he has no put away pitch. And then just when the Mets, seem to score runs, he gives it right back to the opposing team. His pitch count's concerning, constantly gets into full counts. I I really regret the Mets bringing him back. And it was unfortunate because he was so good last year, and we've seen a couple good stretches from him this year, but he's done. Point is, this pitching staff is just not doing the job, whether it's fatigued, whether it's, like we said, Rob, getting into the dog days of summer. It's absolutely been a nightmare. And you know what? This is a group of losers. They're a group of losers who, clearly don't want to get the job done. Are we going to talk about the A series separately, or is that part of this?
Oh yeah, we'll get to it. Yeah, really quick.
Okay.
We're just going through it real quick.
Yeah, so I know I probably just went off, but I'm furious. And I mean, shame on this team, shame on Jeremy Hefner, shame on the lineup 1 through 9, and this whole pitching staff.
Yeah, and the last thing you said, right? This team is a bunch of losers, right? They have guys that have not come up clutch in years past. This is a core that we continue to question again and again and again. Now, we had a little bit of hope from the core, or at least most of the guys in the core, when they came back from 11 games under 500 and showed some life, showed some fight. Let's be honest, show some balls, and came back and got back into relevancy, got back into a wild card race, and we're back where we started, questioning the core, right? Because the only one that hasn't carried a team this season, a part of the core, I mean, even Jeff McNeil had a couple of weeks after the All-Star break, technically carrying his team when everybody else was struggling. He even carried the team for at least a week, right? Lindor has been Mr. Consistent, right? Brandon Nimmo in June was amazing. Parts of July, right? So you had the core carrying the team. And then, with Pete Alonso, right? He has a great game yesterday and comes up in big spots, doesn't do the job, right? Everybody said it was going to be the Colorado game when he hit the 2 home runs. Was a no-show in Seattle. After yesterday, he just looked terrible. And that is the issue. The fact is, until they prove us wrong, until they go into this stretch right now of 40 games left in the season and make the playoffs, and they do it while being productive, we're going to continue to say this team can't handle the pressure. This core can't handle the pressure. I don't care who you bring in. When you pay Nimmo, when you pay Lindor, when you pay McNeil, and you possibly might pay Pete Alonso, you can't bring this entire core back and tell me that everything's going to be okay. Regardless, I don't care if Soto's here, Santander might be here, Burns is here. If you're going to still have these same guys a part of this team that have been consistently losing, and you continue to trust them in the biggest spots and giving them big contracts, well, guess what? We're going to have a lot of losing ahead of us, guys. So I think exactly what Hayden said. They're losers and so proven not. Chris, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I mean, it's hard to argue against what anybody's saying. Am I going to go as far as to call all of them losers and this whole team a bunch of losers and a group of losers? I don't think I'm going to go that far. But what I will say, it's concerning, especially when this becomes a pattern of everybody or this team getting themselves into contention for a race, and then when it matters the most in August, mid-August, even in September, then they fold. Like, that is a concerning factor to me. And I'm not going to get into the depths of this offseason because I really do think that it's best served if we talk about this current season and what's going on right now. But I have no doubts in my mind, whether it relates to the live chat poll that I have in my chat right now, or just the player personnel in this core, like you just talked about, Rob, there is going to be big shakeups to this organization on both sides. But for right now, This team is clearly not clicking on all cylinders like we saw, right, to end the first half. I had major concerns of the starting rotation. I love the Blackburn pickup. I know what he did in that first game against his former team. I know that he did really well in his first 2 starts as a New York Met. I like the pickup, right? He was never meant to come in here and be an ace. A lot of people were talking about guys that weren't even on the block and didn't even get traded in Skubal and Snell. Those were never options for the New York Mets. So when you're operating under that type of, I guess, threshold at the deadline, it's kind of hard. But what I will say is that, and I said it on the post game, I said it on multiple roundtable streams that we've done, is that I did not trust the starting rotation to keep up the pace of what they were doing in the first half. It was never sustainable, right? From Luis Severino and his innings limit, not innings limit because he's not on the limit, but just like the innings that he's thrown, as Hayden said, the most since 2018 in that stellar all-star season, to relying on Sean Manaea to be an absolute complete different version of himself that we've seen him be over the last couple of teams that he's been on in the last couple of years. Jose Quintana, right? This guy, like, I'm sorry, I never say this about a player, but this guy is absolutely putrid. I do not trust him at all, and he is a starting pitcher 5 at best on a mediocre team. I don't trust Jose Quintana at all. Honestly, I'm most confident right now in David Peterson, right? Sean Manaea, and if you move Jose Butto to the rotation, which could be a talking point as well, like we talked about in the post game. So we'll see what happens in that aspect. But I never thought it was feasible for the starting rotation to keep up that pace in which they were performing at before. I mentioned it. It would probably be best served to go out and get 2 starting pitchers at the deadline. The Mets only got 1, and I really do think, obviously, they were not anticipating Kodai Senga going down in the injury in the season debut, but I really do think not getting multiple starters at the deadline, obviously, hindsight's always 2020, that might hinder this team moving forward, which is why you might have to push a Jose Butto back into the starting rotation. Otherwise, we could have just left him in the bullpen and not batted an eye twice. So like I said, I think this team, as bad as they've been playing, especially over the last 13 games, obviously the 10-game road trip and this past athletic series over the 3 games, it's very concerning. Obviously, when you see guys falling off a cliff like JD Martinez for the most part, and Brandon Nimmo and Pete Alonso, who's really never consistently got it going this season, it is concerning. But at the end of the day, this team is 2 games back. I believe the final score went the final, right? The Giants versus Braves that held up, the Giants won, right? If I'm not mistaken. So this team is 2 games back of a wild card spot in the NL. They are here for a reason. And I mentioned it. I know it's cliche. I mentioned the post game. It's going to be a lot of overlap right here in the beginning of this stream than what we talked about in the post game. It might be best served for the Mets and the leaders of this team in Lindor, JD Martinez, and Edwin Diaz to come together as a team and potentially hold another team meeting. Because like I said, it could do nothing or it could do something. I will say that there's no harm, no foul, because not everybody is buying in right now. And when you go out and you have a team that just walks 11 batters against the Oakland Athletics, I get it. These guys are pros at the end of the day. And I'm not saying that everyone's going to buy into a team meeting because honestly, that's kind of little league at this point. But it worked the first time around. Why not? You got guys throwing 11. Like, let's just put this into perspective, please. Let's put this into perspective. You have a 5-0 lead. You need to preserve that lead. It was going to be a cakewalk type of game against a pretty shitty team. Let's call the A's for what they are. I understand what their record is. I understand they've been 5-5 in the last whatever. I understand that they've been pretty decent in the second half. I understand that. There's no reason why the Mets are in this position right now, and while they're in this position right now, they should be losing a series in this game where they got up 5-0 against the Oakland Athletics. No reason. And if it wasn't for the 11 walks this game, they would have won this game. So like I said, something is not clicking with this team, whether it's the offense one day or whether it's the starting pitching, giving up damn near 11, 12 walks. Multiple digits is already way too much. Something has to get back on track, and these guys have to start buying in. And it starts with a starting rotation and trickles down into the bullpen. I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. And Hector's here now. And Hector, you were in a perfect shirt to talk about this damn team. Oh my God. Give me your thoughts and opinions. What's your opening thoughts right now about this New York Mets team and what you just saw today in the series?
Do I have to?
You came on. I'm sorry.
Why'd you host this crap for? Oh man, no man. Listen, it's hard not to feel defeated right now. It's hard not to feel defeated. It's hard not to feel like just giving up, right? And you guys know me. Like I'll be critical or whatever, but the next game I'm right there. Like let's go. And I was said even during my live stream during the game, like yo, until the magic number hits 0, I always think it's a chance, no matter what. But CP touched on some of it right now. Like we see the same things over and over. And yes, this team had a little stretch there where it played good, where it got us excited, where they had a team meeting, where Grimace, whatever the hell you want to attribute it to. And you thought, okay, maybe they figured things out, and maybe this is a good team, and maybe with the right additions and all of that good stuff, and now we're here. But no, it's the same crap over and over. To me, it seems like okay, they had that team meeting, and the theme of the meeting was, oh, nobody expects anything from us, whatever the case may be. We're not expected to do anything. Everybody expects us to lose, so let's play free. Let's just have fun. That was the theme of the meeting, right? That's what they told us. That's what JD Martinez told us. I may be paraphrasing a little bit. Well, now everybody started paying attention again. Now we expected them to win, right? Now the pressure was back on, and they don't seem to be able to handle it. No, and to me, it's not a matter of caring. It's just not being able to handle it, whether it be physically, talent wise, or mentally. You understand what I'm saying? So, like, Hefner, like I said during the live, we're hating. We keep Hefner, and I'm not a fan of Hefner, but like, let's be for real. CP says maybe it's time for another meeting, another team meeting. No, ain't no. What team meeting for what? Team meeting for what? To tell you to throw strikes? Something you've been told since literally. Maybe they need to have a pitching staff meeting and they need to challenge each other. Like, yo, what the hell are we doing? But the team doesn't need to be a part of it. As a head, I don't even want to talk to these fucking guys. I don't. Because if I do, I'm going to say something they're not going to like. All I'm going to say is throw strikes. You're killing us. We need to be better, but you guys are fucking horrible. We gave you a 5-zip lead today, and not one of you can hold on to it. Is that a productive meeting? I don't know. But if I was a hit on that team, that's what I'd be saying. These guys need to start getting it done. You need to execute. You need to get the job done. You're there for a reason. You reached the major leagues for a reason. But for whatever reason, these guys are scared to throw strikes. For whatever reason, men in scoring position score 2 runs or less. We can't have good at-bats for the most part. Nah, man, it's hard not to feel defeated right now. It's hard not to feel defeated. This is a series you should have won. I don't want to hear about what's the excuse now? What's the excuse now? You came from the West Coast, you had a day off. What's the excuse? Everybody want to talk about the West Coast trip and they were tired by the time they got to Seattle. I don't want to hear that shit. They went out there and lost the first series as soon as they got out there. As soon as they got out west, they lost the first series. Enough with the excuses. It just might be that this team is just not good enough. They just might not be good enough.
It's kind of hard.
And as a team.
It's kind of hard also too when the blame game, right, is going to be on either side of the ball, one game versus another, right? At first it was the offense and they're the issue for a series, right? And now we're talking about the pitching being the issue. So like I said, like it can't just be offense versus pitching at this point. This whole team, like Hector's saying, right, is absolutely not performing right now. So it's kind of hard for us to come up here and talk about, like, listen, one game, the pitching staff, right, and the bullpen guys, they walk 11 batters. But why can't we have productive at-bats with runners in scoring position, with runners on first and third another game? So it's kind of like a glass half full, half empty type of thing situation with this team. It's like, who do we blame next? I'm tired of blaming one position group over the other. Quite simple. All of these guys aren't getting it done.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is like, right, the runners in scoring position has been an issue, right, since the All-Star break. And you know what? Even during the hot streak, right, there was certain guys that weren't really getting the job done. It was just enough guys were doing their job. The bigger guys in the lineup were doing the job that was kind of like pulling the rug over the other ones that weren't doing anything. The Jeff McNeils, the Pete Alonsos of the world, Alvarez, those type of guys, right? Now it's coming to a head at this point now because of the fact that now Nimmo's not hitting. Now Lindor, as hot as he was, is lukewarm, where you should be as an all-star type of player. You shouldn't go ice cold completely for a month like Nimmo has. Alvarez has been a no-show all season. Right? Pete Alonso, a lot of them fans saying, well, he's been fine. We don't need Pete Alonso to be fine. This is the major problem, right? These three guys in this lineup need to step it up, right? You can't have Francisco Lindor and nobody else hit except for Vientos, who is batting, sixth in the lineup? Like, Lindor is hitting 2, 3, 4, 5, doesn't do a damn thing, and then Vientos hitting 2-run homers, solo shots, and the guys that should be getting on base and should be providing the run production, they're not even doing that, and it's a huge problem. And I continue to say it, and Hector's spot on when they talked about the meeting openly to the media and to the fans. They talked about there's no pressure, nobody expects us to win. Now the pressure is on. Here we go again, talking about this fucking core, about the pressure. When are we going to learn, or they're going to learn, not even us, because I think we all understand this, and unless you're not paying attention, but I know most of you guys are. The fact of the matter is, they have an opportunity. We talked about this in 2022, when they still had an opportunity to win a division when they went to Atlanta, right? They still got an opportunity here to change our minds. They kind of changed our minds a little bit when they came back from the dead 11 games under 500. Nobody thought they could, right? We started to believe, maybe this core actually found something here. Maybe they finally found that camaraderie, that chemistry, that little oomph that they need, or the cojones they need to do the job when the pressure is on. But was the pressure on? Maybe. I guess you can, because a lot of people thought, they should have never been that bad, but they're here now in a spot where they could still make the playoffs. 40 games to go. They have an opportunity. It's going to come down to the four guys we always continue to talk about. All the hate that we're giving each one of these guys, whoever you might want to hate on that day or for that week or for that month, it's going to come down to those guys. This team, Chris said it on 150 pre-games and post-games and other shows. Hayden said it. Hector said it over and over again. It's going to come down to the main four guys, right? It's going to come down to the big people. It's going to come down to Nimmo waking the fuck up. It's going to come down to Alonso waking up. It's going to come down to Lindor probably got to get red hot again, which he's been the most consistent. The fact of the matter is, these guys need to step it up, because the Bader's of the world, the Taylors of the world, even Vientos at this point is not going to be enough to get this team over the hump and get them in a wild card spot. It's just a fact. We could talk about the pitching, but let's be honest. The pitching has been, okay, as Chris said, but this offense is going to take this team to the next level. It's going to get them over the hump. If this offense and this core players is not going to do the job, I don't care how well you pitch, starting and rotation and bullpen. If the offense doesn't step it up, not today, I'm not blaming the offense today. It was all the pitching. 11 walks, that's embarrassing. But there's been too many opportunities, even in today's game. They had opportunities to take the lead once again. They didn't do the job. A weekly pop-up from Pete Alonso in the ninth. Alvarez, not knowing where he is in the batter's box. Why are you stepping in front of the plate when the ball's in play? Little stupid mistakes like that is costing you games. That is the biggest issue when it comes to this team right now. It's a lot of issues right now, but it still comes down to the same thing. The big boys are still coming up in the biggest moments. They're not coming up and doing the job and being productive in those moments. And it's killing his team. It's absolutely killing his team. I went back to the Seattle series. Look at the first 2 games. There was opportunities from the first to the 6th inning to come back in a ball game when they were down 2 runs, 3 runs. When the offense does absolutely nothing and your pitching has to be perfect, you're not going to win. The Mets had opportunities to win those games, the first 2 in Seattle. But the offense was a no-show. Lindor had the 5 hits. McNeil had a couple of hits. Other than that, it was sleepless in Seattle with this entire team, except for 2 players. That's embarrassing. It cannot happen. And then you come home to face a bad A's team. I know they got pretty good hitting, decent hitting, but come on. This is ridiculous. You won game 2. You beat them down after losing game 1. You had a 5-0 lead today. Why? I don't care if it's Hefner, Mendoza. I don't care if Hector Street from section 304. Throw fastballs. Throw it down the middle. I'd rather you give up a solo shot than walking 3 batters and hanging a breaking ball to a lefty that's batting 210 and hits it over the wall for a grand slam and gets him back into the ballgame. It's simple things like that. That's why it's frustrating. Look, you're going to lose games. We all know this. But the way you lose, it's unacceptable. And that's the reason why we're so mad. We know we're going to lose games. But in the fashion you do lose these games is the biggest issue with this team. And I think that's why Hector said he feels defeated. Because it's the way we're losing. It's not just losing games. It's the way we've been losing. The same way we got excited of the way we were winning. The defeating aspect of this is the way we're losing. I don't know if everybody agrees, but that's the way I feel. Yeah, Hayden, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say I agree with that. I mean, you look at it, it's not like this team is, losing, a ball game 3-2, where they put up a good fight. They're getting the, clutch hits or clutch putaways. It's just they're giving the teams. I mean, they're handing them the win. I said it. Seattle, those 2 games, the Mariners, said, "Here you go, Mets. Here's the win," and the Mets said, "Oh, where?" I mean, right now, this team in the walks has something's got to stop. I mean, Cohen or Stern should tell these guys every time you give up a walk, I'm deducting $100,000 from your payment. Like they need. It's an absolute joke, these walks, and it infuriates me because I've just and we've talked about it. I mean, this team has allowed the second most walks in baseball. You should not be on the same topic as the White Sox. That's an absolute freaking joke. This team just can't put away hitters. 0-2, 1-2. How many times we see 0-2 count? Oh, base hit. Oh, walk. Oh, hit by pitch. The walks are driving me ballistic. I mean, Hefner, I know we blame Hefner a lot. I have no problem getting him gone. The Mets have accomplished essentially nothing under him. Minus Jacob deGrom, which how much credit do you even give Hefner with that? He's done nothing. Hefner gets no credit for any of these guys. Arguably, he's done more harm than good. How many pitchers I see leave this team and they're elite pitchers, shutting us out or doing gestures at us, like whatever. But it's embarrassing. It really is to see this team just start off bad. Sure, they started off horribly in the May and the Jorge Lopez incident, whatever. But to come back from that, and then when it really matters most for the Mets just to say a big F you, it stings. I mean, it really, really stings, and I'm upset. I mean, I'm not trying to bring it up, but it's year 4 of a new ownership. I'm tired of the honeymoon phase. I want to win. I know they've had like 5 different GMs and 30 different managers. I don't care. And I'm done, this, that. No, these guys need to play better or see ya. I was the biggest Pete Alonso fan. Rob, we were doing streams since 2021. I love that dude. I don't really care that much about him now because the Mets have won nothing with him. He doesn't do, I mean, not to get on an Alonso tangent, but I mean, he really doesn't do anything productive. I mean, look at his stats in high leverage situations versus low leverage. Look at today, for example. So it really sucks that this is what the Mets and Mets fans have to deal with once again. And the players, I don't know. Do they care? I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. I mean, we've seen some players make excuses. JD Martinez with a clown comment today, like, shut the heck up. Making excuses, talking about it's a tough stretch. Shut up, clown. Why don't you play better? Dude's been batting like 244 the last 30 games. Play better instead of swinging at every pitch below the strike zone. I'm very, very frustrated. The Oakland
And once
series.
again, we're here. I'm reading through the comments. We need to bring up a top prospect. Can we bring up this guy to 8 innings? Can we? Maybe that. If there was a picture legit, but like CP said, careful what you wish for, because the next man up, it's probably not going to be Brandon Sproul or anybody else you want to think about. It's going to be Tyler McGill. Do you really want to see Tyler McGill? Most people don't. But guys, ladies, it's about the guys in that clubhouse getting the job done, just like they were doing for a stretch. Yeah, we bring up Pete, we bring up Iglesias, but for the most part, the guys there started getting the job done. JD went on a little week and a half stretch because it wasn't long. The JD hot streak wasn't too long, but it was big, and it started everything, right? That walk-off home run against the Marlins and stuff like that. But it's about these guys getting the job done, man. And more often than not, unfortunately, they haven't been able to get the job done. Now, the pitching, listen, just throw fucking strikes. Just throw strikes. But the lineup also needs to be better than it's been for the past week and a half, 2 weeks, even that whole West Coast shit pretty much. The lineup is just not there. It's just not clicking. It's just not clicking. We know that the runners in scoring position over and over and over again. Get guys on base and not able to do anything with it. But man, oh man. Once again, we're looking for outside help.
Yeah, and heck, that's the problem, though, right? I'm sorry, somebody that's brought up Acuna batting 292, doing what he's doing in AAA. Who cares? What does that matter? I'm sorry, this isn't Michael Conforto coming up and trying to help a team before a deadline, right? These guys are not going to make the biggest spark you guys thinking of. If you're relying on a prospect to come up to light a spark under this team, then why'd you pay Nimmo? Why'd you pay McNeil? Shit, why'd you even pay Lindor? Why are you thinking about paying Alonso? How many more prospects do you want up? Did we all forget Nimmo was a prospect? Alonso was a prospect. Alvarez was a prospect. Vientos was a prospect. McNeil was a prospect. These guys are up. They got to do the job. We keep on forgetting. A couple people in the comment. We got to stop talking about other guys. If the main guys don't do the job, it doesn't matter. How much did I talk about the supporting cast in the Taylors and the Baders and the guys at the bottom of the order that were doing the job earlier on in the season? And for the most part, playing pretty decent for the most of the year. It's not enough. If your guys that are the big boys in your lineup not doing the job, it doesn't matter what the bottom of the order does. It doesn't matter what the supporting cast does. It's not going to be enough. And to think that Acuna is going to be the saving grace, you're out of your damn mind. Even if he comes up and has a hot streak for 3 or 4 games, you don't think the league's going to figure him out? And then he's going to go on a cold streak for 2 weeks like every rookie does. So what are we talking about here? We're not talking about the guys that could help us. That's not happening right now. We're not talking about 70 games ago bringing up Acuna or bringing up somebody else to help us out or another pitching prospect. You got 40 games left. It's not enough time for a guy to come up and make that much of a difference. This guy isn't Bryce Harper. This guy isn't, Juan Soto. All right? They're probably not going to be that guy. If that was the case, they would have been up here a long time ago. So let's not worry about guys that could help us, except talking about the guys that could help us at the Major League roster right now. Those are the guys that are going to make it happen or not happen.
I think that's it right there, Rob. What you just said, though, is like, right, what kind of level of prospect? Because I understand what Patrick is saying, where you bring up a young guy and maybe you inject some exuberance, that exuberance rubs off on the guys and all that. energy, and all of that good stuff. But it's not like we didn't have young guys. We bring up Vientos. I just said a little while ago. We bring up Vientos, and he might have provided some of that, right? Alvarez is supposed to be a young guy that's supposed to provide some of that. But if they don't perform, it doesn't matter. And I think sometimes we forget when we say Acuna, everybody's aware we're not talking about Ronald Acuna, right? We are talking about Luis Angel Acuna, who is not like he's been doing great. We only see the highlights. SNY puts most of us, you know what I'm saying? Maybe some of you guys, I'll give you credit. Maybe some of you guys watch minor league baseball. You can't tell me that what you're seeing is someone that needs to come up here, and that is going to translate into what we would need on a major league team. If you're going to bring someone up right now, it's not going to be to sit on the bench to play every 2 or 3 days or anything like that. It's someone like Rob just said, who can be like a Bryce Harper type, who can be a Juan Soto type when they came up, like guys that are going to come up and be an immediate impact and provide a spark. I'm not sure that Luis Angel Acuna is going to be that. I just don't know. Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe they'll do it. But
yeah. Like he could be a really good prospect. He could be a good player, a really good player. We don't know that. But we're in the immediate future to help this team that much. I don't see it. I really don't see it. Because if he was that good, you don't think David Stearns would have brought him up? He had no problem bringing up other people. When Beatty was
play him where?
Where you sound so?
Play him where?
Well, I'm saying, like, what are you going to sit McNeil? You're not going to play Iglesias anymore? Because you're going to have to play the kid every day. You can't sit him 3 days, like Hector said, and then tell him, okay, here's second base, play here today on a Sunday. It's just, that's not how it works. You got too many guys as it is in the same positions. Like, Iglesias has been good. McNeil has been better. Where are you playing Acuna? You're not sitting.
What they should have done, maybe, once Beatty started killing it down there in the minors again, which I don't buy into, they should have given him an outfield glove.
What?
And maybe you could have bring Beatty out here to play some outfield.
Look,
other than that, like that may be the guy that might be able to come up and finally, if he finally comes up and maybe figures it out for a couple of weeks or for a month and goes on a tear and hits 7 to 10 home runs in a month and a half, drives in 20 runs, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Maybe that's the guy, but where the hell do you even play Beatty?
Well, that's the thing. Like, that's the one guy.
Is gone for him.
Maybe Beatty is that one guy that can come up because he's been here already, right? Maybe with a little bit less pressure, not being the starting third baseman, maybe he finds lightning in a bottle for 2 weeks and helps this team. You know, Chris, I agree. I don't believe it.
Yeah. No, listen, Chris.
But one guy that I could see coming up is a guy like Brett Beatty, since he's been killing it ever since he's gone down. Like I said, he's a quadruple A player, in my opinion. But maybe he does hit lightning in a bottle.
And maybe bringing up an Acuna, someone who hasn't been here, could be the spark because it's new, it's fresh, and he's just gonna be happy to be here. All of that is true.
Yeah.
But then again, where are you gonna play this kid?
Correct.
There's no spot to play him.
You got to play him every day.
And he's not playing good enough that you say no. He has to come up because he's hitting 340 in the minors. He hits 2-3 hits every day. You know what I'm saying? He's not doing that. He's not the number one prospect in baseball.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's not Harper.
He's actually dropped. He's actually dropped on the prospect list.
This offseason, right? And I don't want to boggle this down with the offseason, but this offseason is going to tell us a lot about how confident David Stearns really is in this farm system, right? There's been a whole lot of shakeups in the farm system. The Mets are going to have a special, unique opportunity to let go of some guys that are on 1-year deals, on vet minimum deals, etc. Harrison Bader's contract is expiring. We'll see if they bring him back. Jose Iglesias may not be back as well. There's a couple other guys in between that might not be a part of this roster. Obviously, the pitching aspect for sure, but with the offense as well. So we'll see if the Mets truly do believe in these guys, or they package deals for maybe 1 or 2 type of deals and just gut the farm system for 2 studs of players, because that's on the table as well. Let's be honest with you. But what I will say is that going back to the point of how these prospects relate back to this year, these guys, right, with what Hector just said, it's a crowded team in the infield and in the outfield. I thought to begin this season, especially when the Mets were doing poorly and the trajectory that they were heading down, we would have seen at least one prospect not named Mark Vientos come up and make an impact with this team. At the beginning of the season, with the trajectory being what it was, we were talking about Luis Angel Acuna with how bad Jeff McNeil is playing and potentially being another lost season like 2023. We were talking about a Drew Gilbert who could obviously is battling injuries himself, right? And he just got kind of hit in the nuts. I don't know if you guys saw that in the minor league game just recently, but like we were talking about those guys. But right now, especially with the Mets and what they did at the deadline, they made it known, a known fact that barring an unforeseen September call-up, right? Because you also brought a veteran in the door in Eddie Rosario. So Brett Beatty is not even a surefire thing to come up and be that September call-up with Eddie Rosario if he catches lightning in a bottle in the minor leagues in AAA Syracuse. But these guys aren't going to make any immediate contributions this season. And that's where it's like a rock. You're between a rock and a hard place right now because you are trying to tell us that these prospects, quote unquote, everything you've been telling us are the future, and that's why you're stashing them. But they also, and you're also trying to be in win now mode, not for this season in 2024 per se, but 2025 and beyond. But also, how can you be in win now mode and entrust in all these prospects in their first year next year, like Luis Angel Acuna or Drew Gilbert, whoever comes up? Like that doesn't scream win now to me. So this offseason is going to tell us a lot, but the bottom line is in 2024, the guys that we got right now is who we're going to finish the season with. And they either perform up to expectations or they don't. JD Martinez starts hitting above, right, 200 in the next 2 weeks because he didn't do that in the last 2 weeks. In the last 14 days, he's batting under 200. Like that guy is either going to produce or he's not. We all know the type of season he had with the Dodgers last year. He got brought in here for a reason. He didn't get brought in here to be a main piece like Pete Alonso is supposed to be in a contract year, but he got brought in here to be a supplemental piece, and he hasn't even been that over the last, I don't want to say a month or so, maybe even more. So we're talking about guys right now that quite simply, I think everyone's aware, has not performed up to expectations. They haven't. And I think the only exception to that right now is Francisco Lindor. Maybe even Jose Iglesias, because he's giving us more than we figured. Obviously Mark Vientos, because he's hitting the lights off, he's hitting the cover off the ball. But like in this core, Brandon Nimmo's nowhere to be found. I know JD Martinez is not part of this core, but he's nowhere to be found. Pete Alonso is nowhere to be found. So what are we doing here? At the end of the day, this is, like Rob has said this entire time, this is a season where the Mets and David Stearns, presumably before an inevitable crucial offseason, is trying to see what this core can do for him with a supporting cast that's pretty decent. Let's be honest. The supporting cast that this core has is pretty decent. When you take a look at what they've been producing, Tyrone Taylor, Harrison Bader, Jose Iglesias, and I don't even consider Mark Vientos a part of this core right now, although I know he probably isn't going anywhere. But nobody expected Mark Vientos to do this. So his production that he's giving us right now is a cherry on top. And for the core to continue to fail, do not be mistaken for 1 minute that David Stearns isn't looking at this and scratching his head and saying, this offseason, there's going to be a lot of moves to be made. Like, I wouldn't even be surprised if Jeff McNeil's not part of this roster next season, even with the second half that he's having, right? We all talk about Pete Alonso and how he has to be a part of this Mets team. I remember vividly 7-8 months ago, even going back to the tail end of the 2023 season, when he was hitting 220 with 40-plus bombs. I wasn't convinced that it was a necessity to keep him. I want to keep him. And I would still love to keep him. I'm not going to change that narrative up. But if you're telling me that there's no other alternative to make this team better in the offseason that doesn't include Pete Alonso part of that equation, I'm going to tell you you're crazy because there's a lot of different ways this Mets team can go. So like I said, to round this season out in 2024, the guys that they have right now is who we're going to be seeing. They either perform or they don't, and we either make the playoffs or we don't. I said in the post game, I know some people may not agree with this, but this is how I view the Mets right now, especially with where we're at in early June, which was just what? 2 months ago, maybe 2.5 months ago, they're playing with house money. They're playing with house money because this team, quite frankly, I'm not going to lie and BS to you all. I don't know after a slow start. I know I predicted them at 85 wins. After they got off to a shitty start, I don't know if they had it within them to recuperate. But they did, and more power to them. I'm glad we can be talking about at least competitive, quote-unquote, baseball right now. And I know the players probably cannot go in there day-to-day to think the same as I am right now that they're playing with house money because they're actually in a wild card race. But for me, at the end of the day, you see what the Mets give you for the rest of 2024, and you ride into this offseason knowing that it's going to be a very important one. That's it. That's what I got.
I agree with that, Chris. He brought up good points there. And, I think when it comes down to the Mets, going on to this offseason, I concur. It's going to be a very vital offseason. And I think it's imperative that the Mets, I guess, and I don't want to say, make them a competitor again, but essentially they kind of need to do that. I don't know what the plan is with Alonso. To be frank, everyone talks about Soto coming to the Mets. I love it. I don't see it, but I mean, hey, I've been wrong plenty of times, so hopefully that'll be the case.
This team needs a lot more than Soto.
Right, and I agree with that. And that's why I said I don't care for this farm system anymore. I'm sorry, but the last 4 or 5 years, I haven't seen nothing. I mean, what happened with last year's deadline? Where are those guys hurt and batting 138 and AA? And I get it, the numbers, yeah, they don't always transcribe to the major leagues, sure. But, and someone said it in the chat, forgot who it was, so I apologize for not giving you credit, but Alcantara, Miami, they dug out. Dude, I was there this past weekend. They got nothing. They have nothing. I would easily 100% call Miami, get something out of him. I mean, do we have confidence in the Mets farm system? I mean, David Stern, and that's kind of the complexities you get into when you have a small market GM and then an owner who has endless cash. So yeah, that's kind of.
Yeah, but when you talk about the farm system, you can't talk about David Stearns. He just got here. He hasn't put his fingerprint on his farm system.
No, I get that.
He just had his first draft. Like, we can't.
It's gonna be,
I know we're frustrated right now, but we can't be ignorant. You know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta be responsible about how we talk about these things. You can't just turn things over just like that. Now, I do agree with you on the farm system, and you got to be careful because all of these guys that were hyped all last offseason, where the hell are they? The only one that people are talking about, maybe bringing up because he's actually played games, is Acuna, and we just spent 5 minutes talking about how his numbers are not like eye-popping that says bring him up. So when everybody and CP talked about it a while ago, or maybe we were going to see some of these guys come up, I always said if any of these guys kill it in the minors throughout this year, and like I said earlier, this team is playing well and it's around 500 and all of that good stuff, and we could bring someone up, like Patrick was saying earlier, that can provide maybe a spark because they're killing it in the minors, and we bring them up, and maybe like a Michael Conforto, like when Conforto came up in 2015. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of prospect I would have liked to see come up this year. But where were these prospects? Jay Williams hurt. Drew Gilbert hurt. Who else? The other kid, the lefty kid that's hitting all the home runs at the low levels, he ain't nowhere near major league level. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he's killing it in single A, double A. What is it? Clifford.
Ryan Clifford.
Yeah, Clifford. You know what I'm saying? Like, so who the hell are you going to bring up here? Really? Who has made a case to really come up here? Besides, okay, Christian Scott made a case, and they bring him up, and he was good, and then he faltered, and then he was hurt. And then now we see Brandon Sproat killing it, and we start screaming, oh, bring up Brandon Sproat, bring up Brandon Sproat. But is it really time to bring him up? I don't know. I don't follow the minors that deep to say, well, he's thrown enough innings. He's done this. He's done that. Yeah, you should bring him up. He'll be ready to come up here. So, like, but I think we need to be a little bit more responsible. I saw that we got rid of somebody. I think you shared it, Hayden, right? We got rid of somebody in the minors, one of the directors.
Yeah, the Mets got rid of their
international
scouting director, which thank Lord, because clearly nothing's been done the last 7 years since we got Alvarez.
Well, I mean, we got Alvarez out of the international draft. No,
I don't even know if he was there. It was so long ago.
We did.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who this person is and stuff like that. But
we know David Stern was gonna, change things up with the scouting and all that stuff. It's gonna take 3, 4, 5 years to really see what he's going to do. But people keep on. We're talking about the farm system, right? This is why. Look,
I hate that. Can I just say this? I hate that we're having this fucking conversation
no,
again.
no, I understand
I
that.
hate that we're having this conversation again
I agree,
about
Hector.
the off season
100%.
and all this nonsense because this fucking team can win. And instead of winning, I'm gonna go on this damn sidebar because I see it again. I look through fucking X, and listen, it is what it is. It is what it is. But the fact that we had a girl, be careful, Hector, who was out there talking about sucking dick, throw out the first pitch.
Yeah, that was pretty. That
was odd. That was very odd.
embarrassing. And then we wonder why it's LOL Mets. Listen, do what you got to do to be famous. Whatever. Like I said in my live stream, I'm a dope who has a microphone in front of his face right now doing a show on YouTube. So who the hell am I to criticize? But come on. You could have got anybody better than that to go out there and throw a first pitch.
Maybe
Damn
someone
it, pick
will
one of
tweet
your
about
loyal
it.
fans.
I agree.
Go out there and throw that'll represent you. No. You pick a girl who's talking about spitting on fucking dick. Are you serious?
Hey, she threw a strike though, unlike the Mets. So sorry.
Maybe we should have fucking put her in a pitch.
Yeah, right. Can she replace Ottavino? Oh wait, he didn't pitch today.
Anything to get fucking clicks.
So-
Anything to get clicks. That's what we've become.
Bro, that's what I said,
That's what this
Rob.
country's become. Everything in this country is a fucking reality show. Everything.
That is true.
I don't talk about politics, but that shit too. It's fucking disgusting.
I agree. Get it, Chris.
Rob, that's well, what you just said is what I said is that we walked 11 batters, and Adam Ottavino didn't even make an appearance. That's kind of crazy. But Hector, now you understand, right? Because I know you mentioned and you commented on one of my tweets earlier this week, like when I was talking the offseason. This is exactly why I'm like kind of still talking and looking at the cap space for this coming offseason, what money's coming off the books, etc. Because like my mind is definitely focused 100% on this season, right? But congruently, I know if the Mets don't make the playoffs this year, it isn't the end of the world because this offseason is really going to make or break what the trajectory of this team is going to be. So that's what I'm saying. Like I hold my cards with the Mets, right, in two places. Oh my God.
Yeah, beautiful.
That was a beautiful.
I was gonna bring that up too. I was gonna.
Darren, we gotta clap it up for you.
Yeah, that was awesome, Duran.
Oh my
100%
God.
agree.
Good job,
I was
Darren.
gonna bring that up.
Yeah.
It took it out of my mouth.
But yeah, I mean,
Seymour
that's
Wheeler.
what I said. Yeah, that's anyways.
We had Seymour Wiener and Haktua. It can't get better than Mets baseball, I tell you. All right, so Hector, before
Why us? Why us?
Because-
Why do we have to be the team to invite her? Why?
you're wearing a shirt
There's
that's a
so
gimmick
many
right
other
now.
clown operations out there. Why does it have to be us? Are we that thirsty? What does she have to do to New York with New York? What's the connection? I don't even know where this girl's from. I don't think she's a New Yorker.
No, she's
Like,
definitely
From like Tennessee or
So, like, why? How does that happen? Oh, let's see. Who can we get first pitch? I got somebody. The Hatua girl. Yeah, great job. That's a great choice, CP. Let's do it. Somebody call her up. How does that happen?
I don't know. I couldn't even tell you.
All I know is that she wasn't the one that made the Mets pitchers walk 11 batters today. That's all I know.
I know, but it's just
we
embarrassing,
should
bro.
talk
It's
about that.
embarrassing, CP.
It
After everything we've been going through the last couple of weeks, to open this fucking app, and all I see is haha, LOL, Hatua this, and you got Keith McPherson putting her on the podium that she's doing a press conference. I got New York Porch Sports talking about Hatua girl thought that Pete Alonso was creepy. Like come on, man. I don't want to see this shit. I'm already pissed off enough at the play on the field. You're right. I'm already pissed off enough at 11 walks. I gotta see this girl
I agree.
attached to my team.
Yep. Hey, listen, the Mets go on a hot streak. Guess who's going to be the new theme?
Oh my
Do it.
God.
So, all right.
Anywho.
So,
No, Rob, it's I just want to put this into perspective to everybody. we are having prospects or we are having conversations on prospects, right? We're having conversations on Hawk Tua. We're having conversations on so many
'Cause this team
things.
sucks.
But our New York Mets are still only 2 games out of the wild card. That is what an
Absolutely.
Oakland Athletics series loss looks like and sounds like on this about this Mets fan base. I'm just gonna say that right now.
All right, so look, we were talking about the farm system. Why I brought that up is not about the offseason or, if these guys are going to be good coming up. Hector, you've been around a long time with this organization. You've dealt
Why you
with the
calling me
bullshit of this organization. You're fucking old. Come on, I'm in. Fuck. We ain't lying on this show. But here's what I'm saying. How many times have this team in this history of this organization has made the playoffs? 69, 73, 86, 88, 99, 2000, 06, 15, 22, right? Not a lot of times.
Thanks for answering that yourself, because I had no idea.
Right? Why, when we talk about prospects, when we talk about a farm system, would a New York Mets front office, owner, doesn't matter, it's still the organization. They still wear blue and orange, occasionally black. Why wouldn't you try to do everything you can, and this means trading more prospects to get better, right? I don't think the Mets had a bad trade deadline, right? I would give it C plus. Some might give it a B minus. I'm going to go C plus. Why not go for it by trading 4 out of your top 10 prospects to get the better reliever, to get the better starter, right? We talk about this team not having an ace. Why not try to get Flaherty and make a better offer? How about surprising Detroit and trying to get Skubal somehow, some way, and offering them a dynamite package? I know might have not been possible, but what I'm saying is this team over the last 3 seasons, from 2022 until now, 2022 and 2024, had trade deadline where they were buyers, where they had needs, and they got the needs, but kind of at that mediocre level that we got with Blackburn and Brazaban and guys like that, and Winker, right? 2022 with Vogelback and Givens and Ruff and Naquin, right? Why couldn't we go to that next level of player? Why not? This is why I get frustrated with the people who love to be talking about prospects and being prospect huggers. We're in a fucking playoff race. This team at the deadline was what? They were in a playoff spot at the deadline, if not a half a game out of a playoff spot. They have every opportunity as the Braves, as the Padres, as the Cardinals, the Giants, the Diamondbacks to make the playoffs. Why on earth would you not give this team better players at the deadline because you're afraid of giving up the next great player?
I have the answer for you, Rob. I have the answer
We
for
don't
you.
have him. They don't believe in this team. That's why.
I have the answer, and that's exactly what Hector's saying. One, Billy Epler didn't do it, right?
Well, he don't know
Not because he didn't believe in this core, because he's just an idiot, right? That's one thing.
I agree.
Because he believed in this core, right? Because they gave him contract extensions after that season, like 3 of them. So he did it because he didn't do it not because he didn't believe in his team. He's just an idiot and he didn't know what he was doing. That's very obvious, right? With the moves that he made. David Stearns, on the other hand, is not doing this, right? One, because obviously, like Hector said, he had a rushed offseason. He got brought in here late. It's kind of hard to do anything when you got brought in so late. That's one thing. I'm going to give him the excuse for this offseason. We'll see what happens this offseason. But this guy, David Stearns, doesn't believe in this core. I promise you that.
Oh, I agree with that.
And he is not going to do that because guess what? I promise you, he is going to let sparks fly and he's going to trade some of these. I bet you. Like, this is my early prediction for the offseason. We're getting into it. Brett Beatty's gone. He's not a New York Met. He's not in this organization in the 2024 offseason. He's not. He's not going to be, right? With Ronnie Mauricio coming back, Mark Viantis performing the way he's not going to be in this organization. There's nowhere for him to play. So let's be honest. This is what I'm saying. Like, what my point is before we got into the Haktua conversation, right? And this is it was a great spin, Hector. I appreciate it. The chat loved it. I love it. This is why, Rob, because, and this is why I say my foot is in both doors for this Mets team right now in this organization, right? It's in 2024 in this regular season, and whatever happens, happens. We make the playoffs, great. If not, okay, whatever. Because David Stearns could have sold off the prospects like you want to, Rob. He could have done it this deadline. He does not believe in this team. He doesn't, and he didn't want to do that and rush himself at the deadline. But that's why also my other foot, my right foot, is in this offseason because we're going to see so many guys. We're going to see even maybe a Luis Angel Acuna, who people thought was the future of this team, right? Because of the brand name. He's an Acuna brother. We could see him out the door too. We could see even Jet Williams out the door too, who's having a down year, injuries in between. Nobody is safe in this farm system this offseason. I promise you that. I'm just going to say that right now on this roundtable on August 15th.
And that's what I was
I
going to
agree
finish.
100%.
Yeah,
I agree 100%. I was going to say the same thing myself after my Haktua rant. I said it a million times. Go ahead, Rob. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's cool. And Chris, I was just going to finish with that. Why didn't he do it this year? Because he don't believe in the core. He didn't give these contracts.
Give me a second, Rob. Give me a second, right?
Yeah,
because I was going to ask you guys this, right? But CP answered it because I was going to ask, and then say it's because he doesn't believe, right? We want to say, oh, go out there and trade for Blake Snell, whoever you want to say. Besides Flaherty, I don't think any of those starters moved, right? So we could want to say we want to trade those guys. We could think that guys are available, and teams might take a phone call, but it doesn't mean that they're really trying to trade. Now, if you blow them away, it might be a different story. Maybe you could say, well, maybe we should have blew them away, but Chris keeps saying we're making excuses. How we're making excuses, Chris? We're not telling you this team is any good. We're not excusing anybody. We're just trying to reason as to why maybe they went the path that they went. Well, what the hell do you want to do? Who's the guy that we should have won and got this trade deadline that would have turned this around? That would have made everybody better. You tell us, Chris, here in the comments. Because I don't know. I don't know. And what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to force teams to trade you a player? Because I think the Giants were so willing to trade Blake Snell. As much, I don't give a damn what anybody says. I don't think they were so willing to trade Blake. The Giants have been trying to take that step to try to bring people in for a couple of years. Why the hell they don't want to just give up? So I don't know. I really don't know. Now you want to say that maybe we should have gave them an offer they couldn't refuse? That's a different argument. But like CP just laid out, if David Stern doesn't really believe that Blake Snell would have been that difference maker, then why the hell am I going to put all my eggs in one basket when, again, like CP said, he could probably use a few of those prospects to make moves this offseason to hopefully get this team better. But FaZe,
you can sign Blake Snell in the offseason. Heck, Blake Snell's a free agent in this offseason. These guys are on one, like minus Tariq Skubal, who wasn't being moved. Blake Snell is going to be a free agent if he really.
But we're talking about trying to improve upon this year at the moment.
Oh, this year, okay, yeah, 100%.
Like, yeah, sure. Future, it's Blake Snell where you want to go. But no, I'm with you, FaZe, and somebody else who said it. I don't want to talk about prospects. I don't. Oh, Henry said enough of this prospect shit. I'm with both of you guys. I don't like this conversation. I said a little while ago. I don't like this conversation. But this is the conversation that this team is making us have. This is a conversation that's making us have because we're starting to think, oh, well, how are we going to go forward? No. We don't take it as disrespect. I say it all the time. I tell these guys all the time. I don't want to talk about this shit. I don't. But we have no choice. Unless this team goes out there and wins 7-8 games in a row and starts winning series, what else? What the hell else are we going to talk about?
Well, heck, you see, it's not about the 7-8 games in a row. You said the other part. It's about winning series. Me and Chris brought this up on the post game, right? It's about winning series. I did right. If you win over these next 11, 12 games after the Marlins and the Orioles, and you head to the West Coast against Arizona and San Diego during that 11, 12 game stretch, if you win series, you'll be right in it. Now, I'm not going to guarantee them being in a playoff spot, but they'll be right there with like 20-something games, 25 games to go. Right? They just got to win series, right? You know, everybody a lot of people in the chat in the post game were talking about, oh, we have to sweep the Marlins. It would be great to sweep the Marlins. We all want that, right? We all want that, right? It seems more necessary now because we didn't win the series against the A's. But if you win the series against the Marlins, feel good going into that Baltimore series, because Baltimore, even though they're very damn good, they haven't been playing great. Take 2 out of 3 against them. Head off on a good note, finishing up the homestand going to the West Coast against 2 teams that you're chasing. Win series. I think too many Met fans, and not saying you guys on the table right now, a lot of Met fans, I hear it on X, I heard it in the chat in the post game. Yes, I would love to sweep all these series, but let's take a step back a little bit. Win the series, right? Win the series.
Rob, I hear you, Rob, but at the same time, it's time to go on a run. The Padres won on a 8-game winning streak. The D-backs won, what was it, like 9 games in a row?
I agree. But I'm talking about just making a playoff spot. I don't care about the first wild card, second wild card, third wild card.
No,
just
I don't either.
You know, you know what I'm saying? Because the Braves haven't been going on a 6, 7, 8-game winning streak. They've been winning series. They've been winning 3, losing 2. Winning 3, losing 1, and then winning 3 again. Winning series. They've been winning series. Look, they haven't been playing great, but they've been, splitting 4-game series, winning series. That's how they jumped us, because we lost a couple of series over the last week and a half and haven't been sustaining series wins. And Chris talked about it. He made a great point in the post game. The Mets didn't go on tremendous hot streaks and winning streaks during their 2-month hot streak. They were winning series after series after series, occasionally splitting a 4-game series.
They had a 7-game win series.
I think the thing. I think the thing is, and I agree with you, win series. I mean, right now you looked at what? You lost 3 of your out of 4 are your most recent series. And I mean, to below 500 teams, arguably the bottom tier poverty teams in sport, in baseball. And, and I think, you look at 2022, and I mean, I know a lot of Mets fans idolize that year, but, you look at 2022, they won. I mean, they won every single series until like mid-June. And I mean, what was their I remember a lot in 2022, the Mets would always win the first game, lose the second game, and win the rubber match. And it goes to show you this year, the Mets just are not able to win the rubber match game. I mean, what's the Mets record on Saturday and Sunday? I would love to know, because I feel like every Sunday or every Saturday, I feel like I'm pissed off coming on here.
So, or day games at City Fields. They can't
day
win.
Games. I mean, their number, they have to be way below
Chris
500.
just read my mind. This win series shit, it sounds cute in May and June. I agree. That's one. Second of all,
I agree. You need to go on a hot streak.
You're talking about the Braves have been winning series, my ass. The Braves lost the series to the fucking Marlins. I mean, they split with the Marlins. They got swept by the Milwaukee Brewers. They lost the fucking series to the Rockies. And they're now playing. Now they've beat the Giants in the series. You know what I'm saying? So they've been winning series, my ass. We just been stinking it the hell up and not handling our business. That's the problem. So now maybe had we been won the series, we would have been able to hold pace a little bit, because they've been playing bad though. We should be 2-3 games up on the Braves.
I agree with that.
We should be 2-3 games up on the Braves. Maybe 4. We should be 4 or 5 games out of this damn division. Have we handled our damn business? It's about this team not handling business.
You know what's funny?
Now it's going to get to the point where you're going to need a lot of help, and that's what pisses me off, because we're going to be looking for help all over the place.
You know what's funny
about our damn selves?
Even with the Mets playing bad since the All-Star break, at the All-Star break, the Mets are 6 games out of the division. They only lost 2 games in those standings, and they actually lost 2 games to the Braves in the standings.
Come on, dude, look, even if I go further back, Rob, I'm sorry. If I go further back, coming out the All-Star break, they lost the series to St. Louis. They lost the series to Cincinnati. You know what I'm saying? They split a 4-game series with us. Then they beat Milwaukee, and then I already told you what's happening in August.
Yeah.
So no, Atlanta ain't been doing shit. It's just that we've been stinking it the hell up.
So I mean, if we would have played 500 baseball for the most part, we'd probably be a game or 2 up, like you said. Like it's crazy, being maybe 3, 4, 5 games on the 500 over that stretch. It's hurting us right now. And listen, look, Do we all want us to go on a run? Absolutely. Like, could they use a 7 out of 8, 8 out of 10? Yeah, absolutely. Right? You can't go 4 and 6, 5 and 5.
Use
and
it. They might need it, is what we're trying to tell you.
They might
use
need
it. They might
right.
need it.
They might need it, right? But you know what?
Dire.
They are playing 2 teams in a week that are in front of them. Look, they're playing they're going to be playing a bad team in the Marlins. Again, we know the Marlins are the kryptonite of the Mets kryptonite. We all know that. The Marlins always give us trouble. If they're bad, good, in between, it doesn't matter. I don't care what the name. As soon as the Mets see the Marlins jersey, not the teal or the ugly colors that they have now, they find a way to play them good. They got to find a way to win this series, right? I know we all want a sweep. You know, we go into that, well, every series we should be thinking about a sweep. But you got to go in there winning a series. Win game 1. Chris always says it. Win game 1, you got 2 opportunities to win a series. That's the important thing.
Hold on. My bad. I'm sorry, guys, because I'm just looking at this for the first time. I've looked at all these team schedules except for the Braves. We making all these damn excuses. I thought it was crazy that the Mets only had 9 home games in August. These guys only have 6. The Braves have 6 home games in August. They're playing a 14-game road trip right now. 4 against the Marlins, 3 against Milwaukee, 3 in Colorado, 4 in San Francisco, and now they go for 3 in Anaheim.
And they really haven't been playing well, except for the Giants series.
Yeah,
they haven't.
Yeah,
they haven't. But they had it worse than us. They had a 14-game road trip. 14. And I don't even know how July ended if they was on the road for that. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, look, the excuses.
We can make all the excuses we want, like these guys are saying. This team, back to the 22 phrase, shit the bed.
You know what, though? Between the 2022 Mets and the 2024 Mets right now, it's like, to me, it's like an opposite team, to be honest with you. The 2022 Mets, the offense in the lineup was mediocre at best. I know they got lucky a lot of the times. They had Eduardo Escobar, Mark Canha, a combination of Tomas Nido and James McCann starting for them. That lineup was mediocre at best, and they were carried by the starting 5 pitchers. Even Carlos Carrasco somehow had an under 4 ERA, right? And the pitching this year isn't that good. So, like I said, I don't really know the comparison sakes for in terms of the roster the Mets have compared to 2022. All I know is that this offense is night and day different and better on paper. And it's a shame if they continue this cold stretch right now, because I really do think that at the end of the day, I'm not saying this team in 2024 is as good or better than the 2022 Mets, because obviously the record shows what it shows for that squad. But listen, it's a concern when it's just a continuous pattern, regardless of the comparison's sake, and us having to sit here and talk about potentially, right, getting outplayed by the Braves again when they're playing shitty baseball all in all over the last couple of weeks, and not capitalizing on that makes me sick to my stomach.
Chris, I don't know. The Braves are not handling their business quietly. Did you not just see what I just ran through?
Yeah, they're not.
Yes, they just won 3 out of 4 of the Giants, but they haven't. We haven't handled our business.
Yeah.
And now I'm looking at the Philly schedule, and they too only play 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 10 home games in August. Basically, MLB baseball told the NL East, you guys, go to hell. You're gonna spend the month of August on the road. I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know if all these guys' stadiums were unavailable or what the F. But this is disgusting what they've done to the National League East. When you look at it, we all spend a month on the road, and a lot of it out on the West Coast. I mean, we already know the Phillies been struggling. I don't need to go through their nonsense, but they're not struggling today. They up 9-1 on Washington. Now the Phillies are really going to get good with these 4 games with Washington. But look, they're August. What did they do? 2 or 3, they lost to Seattle. Okay, they beat the Dodgers 2-1. They won that series, but they lost 3 or 4 to Arizona, and they just split. They split 2 with Miami, and now playing
swept
Washington.
by the Yankees. Yeah,
right. And before that, got swept by the Yankees, and I forgot who else the hell they lost to. But I'm just looking.
Look, the Mets had the opportunity to gain ground.
The Mets problem has been the Mets
team in the NL East, and they didn't do it. right? Luckily for them, they didn't get buried in this wild card. It could have easily, if the Braves would have won a couple of series, like you said, Chris, Hector, that they would lost, the Mets could have been 5-6 games out of a wild card spot, and we'd be talking about 2025 right now.
Then we really be talking about next year.
Yeah. But guess what, guys? We're 2 games out of a wild card. We got the Marlins coming up. This team needs to step up. I don't care who it is at this point, right? I'm sick and tired of bringing up Pete Alonso. Hey, shut me up. I say it every freaking pregame. Shut me up, everybody. I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is anymore. I don't care if Tyrone Taylor is the one that carries this team for a week. Give us a stretch of games where you give us an opportunity to win ball games, and get back into this race. Take that wild card spot from the Braves. Get the job done. You got 40 games to prove all of us wrong, or you're going to hear the same nonsense over and over again about the core and the criticism of this core and the lack of production when the pressure is on the most with this core. So they got to figure it out. That's it. Biggest concerns, the last topic of the night. Hayden, I'm going to start with you with the biggest concerns. 40 games to go. 40, 41, whatever. I can't do the math. Chris usually does the math right here. But
Yeah, I mean, there's
41 left, and only because Gary Cohen said it earlier, so I know.
Thank you. See, look at that. Thank you, Gary. Right? Hayden's favorite guy.
Wait, what are we talking about here, Easy? You're not a tough guy. What are we doing? What are we doing, man?
Easy and Chris
breaking your chops because you say you're tired. I mean, I agree with you. I'm tired of the prospects and the paper stuff too.
Easy talks too much. He just talks too much.
I say it all the time. The game's not played on paper, but nah. CP got enough people, man. But we all peoples. We're not here to fight, right? What's with you, man?
Hayden, I'm sorry. Before we get to the biggest concerns for you with the Mets, right? Chris made a good point on the comment. I want to bring this up. Similar to 2022, the second to the last series of the year might come down to the games in Atlanta.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
How about that?
Again. Not this crap again.
Where's Chris Bassett, baby? Where is he? Where's Scherzer? Hayden, biggest concerns going forward over the last 41 games of the season?
Has to be the pitching. I'm going to say it's the pitching all around when it comes to the, I guess, rotation and bullpen, and I'll give my reasoning. When it comes to the rotation, I said it earlier. I said it on the trade deadline stream, and I said it on 1,000 different platforms over the last 2 weeks, is that this New York Mets rotation is getting up there in innings. It's the dog days of summer. We've talked about it. Luis Severino is, pitching in August. That's a rarity. We don't see that very often. The last, 5 years, 2018 was the last time he went over 115, 20, 30 innings. We're at that plateau, and it's not really treating him that great. Severino is not the pitcher that he was in April, in May, in June. He's definitely kind of collapsed a little bit, if you want to use that terminology. Manaea's been okay. He's been solid. He's been having some good outings, so I'm confident on him. Peterson is shockingly my Cy Young. He's a guy that I've been a big proponent of. I've defended him the last couple years, and luckily it's paying off. But biggest concerns is Severino, and what are the Mets going to do with Jose Quintana? He's a liability out there, and then he coincides with an overtaxed bullpen because of him. And I said it. I worry about this bullpen a lot. I'm not saying it's elite. I'm not saying it's bad. I worry about it. We're having guys return from injury. Reed Garrett, first appearance back from his injury. I believe it was his first. I said it last stream. Not confident in him coming back. I think that injury is going to affect him, and it definitely did today. So, overall, I would say my biggest concern is the pitching. The offense is one thing, but it's the walks, and the walks. It drives me absolute 11 walks. That's embarrassing. If I was a pitching coach and my team gave up 11 walks, I would drive off I-95. That's an embarrassment. You're better than the White Sox by 1 in terms of walks. That's embarrassing. Jeremy Hefner, someone needs to take that iPad and smack him in the head with it. I don't know, playing a video game, watch the game. So it really drives me nuts to see the walks. And it's an embarrassment. I want this pitching staff, I want this bullpen to go out there, limit the walks, throw strikes, and retire the final hitter. How many times we see it? 0-2, two outs. Finish the fucking job, please. I mean, how many innings could we say from this bullpen if guys just got the third final out or the third strike? I mean, Jesus, it would be phenomenal. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, I would say my biggest worry is the pitching staff.
All right, Chris. Biggest concerns going forward. 41 games left in the season.
I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not the bullpen. It's not the bullpen. I don't wake up thinking about this bullpen like Easy does. I don't. Easy wakes up, thinks about this bullpen, goes to work on his commute, thinks about this bullpen, gets off of work, comes into our streams, worries about this bullpen. Guess what? I'm gonna let him worry about the bullpen. I'm worried about the starting rotation. That's it. That's what I got.
Hector, biggest concerns going forward.
Everything. The entire team. Honestly, the entire team is my biggest concern. The hitting needs to be more consistent. The starting pitching needs to be more consistent. Go deeper in games. The bullpen needs to be more consistent. I don't wake up worried about it, but they do need to be more consistent, CP. I like I said when Reed Garrett was coming in, I give him some room because he just got back. So, and the bullpen could get better if the starting pitching gets better. But everything is my concern. As much as I say I like Mendoza, and there's a lot of things I like about Carlos Mendoza, I worry about Carlos Mendoza now as the pressure mounts and his bullpen handling and stuff like that. Listen, the last couple of days, he's done some things that have been questionable. There's been times when he's used Buto in questionable situations. When he used him the other day when we were down 6-1 or whatever the hell we was, I couldn't believe we were using him in that situation. You understand what I'm saying? We could have used Jose Buto today.
Today was pretty bad.
We could have used Jose Buto today. You know what I'm saying? So better management of the bullpen, knowing when to use guys. Pinch hitting Alvarez for McNeil today was bad. I give Mendoza credit for his feel of the game. That was a horrible feel of the game today. McNeil had given you 2 great at-bats. This wasn't no dominant lefty. But we're supposed to be quick here before we get into our closing, right? So I'm concerned about every fucking thing about this team with 41 games left. Because as pissed as I am right now, as defeated as I feel right now, tomorrow, guess what I'll be saying? A game to be played is a motherfucking game to be won. Go out there and win it. But I'm concerned about everything.
Yeah, you know what my biggest concern is? And everybody's probably going to know. I'm not going to talk about the pitching, start a rotation. I'm not going to start talking about.
Is he even a concern anymore?
Oh, no.
Pete Alonso.
I was going to talk. Where's DJ Stewart? Where the hell is he? No, listen, guys. I don't care what the pitching does, right? Yeah, did they lose the game today? Absolutely. With their terrible walks? Absolutely, right? But more often than not, I find the Mets are in the game in the 6th and 7th inning where even the start of rotation, if they're not pitching great, they're keeping the team in the ballgame. Same thing with the start of rotation and the bullpen. They seem to keep the team in the ballgame while the offense can still come back. Even if they're losing or winning, they're still keeping them in ball games, keeping leads, keeping them close if they're in a deficit. Where's the offense? Where is the guys for 26 games, Nimmo batting like 124, terrible runners in scoring position, striking out at a high rate, not walking anymore? Pete Alonso, right? He has 1 game per week where he looks like Pete Alonso, right? JD Martinez, right? Taking pitches right down the middle, swinging at, he looks like Alonso at the plate, swinging at those sliders in the dirt. Like, where's all the talk about those videos you look at and all the hidden drills and all that stuff? You got to be better. Mark Vientos and Lindor can't carry this team on their own, especially when one bats leadoff and the other one bats 6th. There's a lot of guys in between that are not doing the job. It would be nice if those guys get on base along with Lindor when Vientos is rocking in balls to right field and right center. Where is the offense?
Can I ask you a question?
Again.
Since you're talking about the offense, and just because I saw Daniel Caps brought it up here again, what do you guys feel? And I don't think, because even today in the post game, Mendoza said, we'll see how it works out. It's about matchups and who's available. Everybody's available. Nemo's back available tomorrow. Do we keep Vientos in the 2 slot? And what do you do with Brandon Nimmo?
I was going to bring that up. Thank you for actually mentioning that question, because I do want to get everybody's opinion on that quickly.
I'm moving him.
That makes sense. You know why? Because what did I just say? From 2 to 5, nobody's doing the job. Why not put the 2 guys that are batting the best in your lineup back to back? So it really causes hectic craziness for the pitcher early in the game. Maybe you might get Alonso hitting the ball over the wall, or JD Martinez hitting the ball over the wall, with Vientos doing damage and Lindor doing damage. I keep it like that. I don't know where you put Nimmo, because I'm not putting him third. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to see him third, but also I don't know. Look, Amizi just said Nimmo, put my guy Nimmo 7 through 9. Daniel wants to put him 8th right in front of Bader, and I'm like, damn, like come on, let's not like act like Nimmo's been a bum. Like Nimmo was the only good part in April and May and early part of June. You know what I'm saying? Nimmo's had 2 dynamite years. Nimmo may be dealing with stuff that we don't even know right now. With everything, Nimmo got hit in the face. Nimmo fought the ball off his knee. Nimmo fainted
put
in
him on the
his
IL, because there's no excuse.
No, of course, but he's still playing. But I'm just saying, like,
yeah, I agree.
But I'm just saying, let's not act like he's a bum.
Oh no, I didn't know.
Like he's a bum.
I agree with that.
Let's not treat him like he's a bum. So I don't know, but I'm not gonna also complain about hitting, not hitting. You know what I would like to see is, how about you keep Nimmo 2, and instead of giving me Jesse Winker, which I know he's been good, CP. I know he's been good, especially the last couple of games. But do I really need to see Jesse fucking Winker hitting 3rd and 4th?
Yeah, that's that.
How
No,
about not put Vientos
I agree
in
with
there?
you. I agree.
You know what
with
I'm saying? And I know sometimes they want to do lefty, righty, and but we don't even do that much of that. I don't think we see that much of that. Them trying to alternate lefty, right. Every now and then they do it, but there's plenty of times we see 3 lefties in a row, 2 lefties in a, whatever the case may be. So I would say leave Nimmo 2 and maybe hit Vientos 3rd or 4th. You know what I'm saying? Right there with JD and all of that. But put Vientos between JD and Pete Alonso instead of Jesse Winker, But I just wanted to bring that up real quick. I need to get out of here, but sorry, I just wanted to get your guys' opinion on that, because it came up a lot in the live stream during the game that I was doing, and I saw Daniel brought it up here again.
Yeah, Chris,
I will say that I agree with you, Hector. Jesse Winker did not get brought in here to be a 3 or 4 hitter. That's not anything that I envisioned. I did not envision that for him. He's been decent, right? With the Mets, he's been pretty solid with the Mets, to be honest with you. He's batting around 300 with the Mets. The OPS isn't there. The extra base hits haven't been there, but he has been getting, right, his fair share of base knocks, singles primarily, right? He's more of like a 6, 7, 8 hitter to me. I mean, honestly, probably 7 or 6. But right now, I don't envision. I would love to bat Nimmo down in the order, right? I would love to do that. And I was very high on Nimmo, but like right now, he's been absolutely terrible. So like maybe you bat him 6th. Anything below 6, I'm just simply not convinced, regardless if he won or not. I'd be willing to even do it, to be honest with you, but I'm not convinced that the Mets are going to do that with Brandon Nimmo. So I think that 6 is probably the lowest you will see Brandon Nimmo, but 100% agree with you. Even though I do like Jesse Winker a lot, I like that pickup a lot, and I think he's been decent, right? More so than a lot of people are giving him credit for. He's not going to be that altering bat that a lot of people wanted, but he's been solid. He's definitely not a 3 or 4 hitter. So that's got to change, 100%.
Good, Hayden. Sorry. Good.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think Nimmo should be lowered in the order. I mean, he's been unwatchable. I mean, I couldn't even tell you the last time he got a meaningful hitter, yet alone actually got a hit. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's hurt. If that's the case, IL. I'm not gonna have someone out there jeopardizing this lineup. But yeah,
but at the same time, we
know.
give other guys credit for playing through things, though. That's the shit that gets me mad. That for some reason, Nimmo's the guy that's like mostly like, oh, well, IL him or put him down to 9th. Nobody wanted to bat Lindor 9th when he struggled forever, right? When they play through stuff, they say, oh, maybe he's dealing with something. Nobody says put him on the IL.
They want him off the team.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I think right now just Nimmo. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a mechanical thing. I don't know if it's just really, 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 really times 10 bad slump. I mean, mechanically, he doesn't really look different compared to this week to, his hot stretch. He looks fine mechanically and physically with the stance, really no difference. So I don't really know what it is. I don't know if it's just these uppercut swings.
He's caught in between, bro. He's caught in between trying to be a power hitter and trying to be a hitter.
And that's
I
a
think there's some of that
consequence of
going on.
Changing up
That's
his,
the
his
constant
hitting.
struggle he's been doing his whole career.
So
last couple seasons.
right now, I would say I'm lowering him in the order. I agree with Chris. I don't think they'd put him 8, 9, 7. I would like it to, but I just don't see the Mets doing that. I wouldn't be against batting him 6th or 7th. I think that's ideal. I agree. Winker should not be batting anywhere. He should be batting lower in the order. Lower in the order, excuse me. Call me crazy. I really wouldn't be against putting Bader in Nimmo's spot. I mean, he's been great. He's getting on base an adequate amount. He has the average, has the on base percentage. I think he could be a guy that does damage first inning. So I would definitely consider moving Bader to that 2 spot or Nimmo spot. But yeah, Nimmo needs to be moved 6 or 7.
And at the same time, guys, at the same time, put him wherever the hell you want. You know what's gonna happen? The game always finds you. So Nimmo's gonna come up in a big spot. And he's either gonna get the job done or not get the job done. The lineup is only in the lineup the first time through the order. And the game always finds that guy that you're trying to hide. The game always finds that guy that's struggling or whatever. So bat Nimmo 10th. I don't give a fuck. The game is going to find him, and we're going to need him to come through. That's where I'm at. And I got to get the hell out of here. So I don't know if we're going to have closing thoughts, but that's my closing thoughts. Start winning motherfucking games. I don't give a damn what the lineup is. Start throwing strike starters. Shamanai, give me a game tomorrow. I'm going to be there. I need a fucking game from you, or we're going to have a talking back in Central Park. Nah. But, yo, guys, thank you, man. I got to get out of here, though. Thank you, Rob, CP, Hayden. It's about time we got back together. We got to keep doing this shit more often. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Let's go, Mets, as always. Fuck, this shit sucks right now. I'm going to hang out, but I don't want to talk no more. You guys need me to shut the fuck up. I'm going to mute myself, goddammit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly, guys, right? It's just that simple, right? They just got to get the job done, right? There's no excuses, no more excuses. Doesn't matter who it is. Who's going to put this team on their shoulders? It is what it is, right? The Mets are 62-59. Somehow, some way, only 2 games out of a wild card spot. 4-6 in their last 10. They got a bad Marlins team. Regardless of the Marlins being the Mets' kryptonite, they got to win. It's just that simple. You start with winning the series, and then we can talk about going on a run. That's what they need to do. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, Shomania, Hector's prodigy, figures, does a good job tomorrow and wins us a bowl game. But yeah, it's going to come down to the same old guys we keep on talking about on the roundtable, pregame, postgame, Mets Talk Live, whatever. Doesn't matter. Whatever show that you want to listen to, we've all talked about it. We repeat ourselves because they continue to do the same thing. So guys, Hayden, Chris, Hector, almost a 2-hour roundtable. We're finally back. Hopefully, we're going to do this weekly. It's been a crazy couple of months with vacation, summer, and all that stuff. We got to get Hayden in as much as possible before he heads back to Stetson and, learn some shit. Shit. Yeah. With that said, guys, thank you for tuning into another Mets Roundtable podcast. We all always have a good time. Over 200 in my stream with X and YouTube. Everybody else's, hopefully you guys got some good views right there. Make sure you subscribe to the channels. Hit on that like button, guys. I got beer. So they got bats. I got beer. So there we go. That's what the Mets do to me. So with that said, guys.
Here we go, CP.
Have a great night.
Me and CP are ready to go out there and get some big hits, goddammit. Let's go, Mets, baby.
I mean, better than Pete Alonso. With that said, guys, have a great night. Let's go, Mets. And we'll see you next time, guys. Have a great night. See ya.